This is just like our homework last night. To test algebraically if we have a function, what we talked about doing yesterday was solve y and just testing some points. We can do it graphically, but yesterday we talked about algebraically. So I told you to test a positive. If we plug in 2, we get 8 plus 8 is 16. Plugged in 1, got out 1. Then I told you to test a 0. If we plug in 0, we get out 8. Plugged in 1, got out 1. One input, one output for one input. Let's try negative 1. We get out 7. So for each input, we got out exactly one output. So can we say, according to our test, that this is a function? Yes. Now if we graphed it, we would also see that it is a function. This is called a cubic function. It's a cubic function that's been shifted up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it looks like this. Okay. Now this next one, we get the absolute value of y is equal to 4 plus x. What do y'all think? Let's test something. Well, are we going to stick with 2? Okay, so we're going to plug in 2 and see what happens. So if we plug in 2, we get 4 plus 2 is 6. Now, let's think about this. Could y be positive 6? Would that make a true statement?
Yes.
Yeah.
Could y be negative 6?
Yes.
Would that make a true
Yes.
statement?
So that is, yes.
So I plugged in 1 and I got out 2.
Not a function.
Is it a function?
No.
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 And if I graph this one, this one's going to look like this. A V pointing sideways. Does it fail the vertical line test?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Okay. All right, number 3. So, is this a function? Yes. What is the domain? The domain is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did you write it as a set of those discrete elements with the braces at either end?
Yes.
Not as an interval, because it doesn't include like 2.5. We can't write it as an interval. Okay, the range would be 3, 8, 15, 24, 25, no, 24, 35, and 48. Okay, who has a rule for me? All right, what did you get?
X squared minus 1.
Good. Y equals x squared minus 1. Square it minus 1. Square it minus 1. Do you see it?
Yes.
Good.
yeah.
Good.
That's pretty.
You're not that good at
There's some things I can show you later on. If we look at this, the second difference is a constant.
It just
I
takes
told
you
you
a
I'm
while.
not making you do that.
Well, you are making us
do.
do that?
I like the rule part, but I'm not making you give me the rule for the ones that aren't linear. It could be a bonus.
Yes.
We use
Dang, looks like I won't be getting it.
Okay. Yes, this is a function. The domain is -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. And the range is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right, Brian, what do you think?
Y equals x. One has 2 parallel lines.
Absolute value. Yes.
Absolute
Yes.
value plus 1.
You are correct, sir.
That boy, Ryan.
Nice job, Brian. Very good. Okay. Even if we didn't get it, do you see it now?
This is the note. Okay. Sweet Jesus.
What time golf? Really care about golf, man.
I did. That was terrible.
Did you ever shoot out a park?
I really was. Did I ever show you my golf stand? Alright, this is why I'm terrible at golf, okay? So, you settle up to the knee, and then this is what my arms are.
Holy shit!
Yeah. I'm double jointed. So,
What the-
it really hurts to do than normal. Like, that's painful. You see me shaking? Alright, so that's normal, and this is me. So, my golf swing breaks a little too much. You should have seen a pro working with me. He probably just gave up. Play another sport. Okay.
That's a cute photo.
That was painful.
All right. So we all have limitations. It's okay. Uh-oh. Did we go over the homework yet? No. Shame on me. Let's go over the homework before we start today's lesson. Y'all sound like those birds. On
Mine.
Thank you.
I did that
Exactly.
for like 3 hours once.
Stop.
3 hours?
My brother slapped me really hard.
You deserved it.
Should I shoot?
It's our friend. Sorry. I got 22 wrong.
This will be what? Never mind.
Have you finished checking your homework?
No.
Okay. All right, how are we doing, guys?
Can you explain 22? Because I got that one wrong.
All right, 22. 22 is just like the one in our warm-up.
Yeah, I got that one too.
If I plugged in 2, I would get the absolute value of y equals 2. So I could either use positive 2 or negative 2. So 2 would be paired with both 2 and negative 2. And that can't happen. So, nope.
So if there's an absolute value around y, it's open, you know?
That is a shortcut way of thinking about it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
A little bit, yeah.
So what about?
Yes, Rose.
I'm thinking that's old and seriously.
All right. Any other questions?
Putting it on inside out.
What about?
So when
Yes,
the y
Spencer.
values, like for number 8, when our y values are consistent, it
Uh-huh.
would be y equals.
Uh-huh. Yep. Every y value is 3, so it's y equals 3. Yes, ma'am. That's a horizontal line. Andrew?
Oh no.
Just stretching? All right. Any other questions? Yes, Donna. 9 and 10. All right, you probably just didn't understand the directions. Okay, so what it said was, if these are our choices for the domain, and these are our choices for the range, if I paired them up this way, is that a function? Yes. But if I paired them up this way, is it a function?
Oh,
No.
that makes more sense.
That's what it means.
We like circles. Yeah.
That's true.
All right. Any other questions? Fabulous. Let's move on to today. So today is that wonderful review we were going to talk about, and we're going to just take it a step further by looking at more interesting graphs. So we have already talked about domain and range, and we've already actually even talked about them with respect to graphs. So this is just taking what we already know a step further. Now, when we have a continuous interval of a graph, we're going to write our domain and range using interval notation. And when we use interval notation, we always start with the least value and go to the greatest value. We use a comma in between the two. There's something else. Occasionally, I'm reminded that this is a 9th grade class.
I didn't even do
That
anything.
you sat in front. That's
I
all
have
you
a
do.
question,
Okay.
question. It
Now-
wasn't me, it was Matt.
All right, so we use brackets if the point is included. We use parentheses if it is not. And if it has any missing points or jumps, we use the union symbol to combine our intervals together.
Huh?
The union, the U.
I see you. I know.
Oh, sure. Yes. Okay, now, if the graph is discrete points, now if it's discrete points, just dots, we're going to use the braces to show the elements of that domain or range. Now, for domain, we always look left to right. For range, we always go from the bottom to the top. Okay, let's do these nice and slowly together so that everyone understands. Okay. The first thing I'm going to look at on this first graph is, one, is it a function? Does it pass the vertical line test?
Yes.
Yes. I would say yes, it is a function. And now we're going to take a look at the domain. When I think about the domain, I think about the x-axis. And the x-axis goes forever this way to negative infinity, and forever in this direction to, that doesn't look like infinity, I'll try again, positive infinity. And then I look at my graph. Well, look at that. Looks like it's going left forever. So it's going all the way to negative infinity. So what would the least value be? Negative infinity. Now, can we ever contain or include negative infinity? No. It is not a number. It is a concept. Now, it goes forever right, which takes us to positive infinity. Does the domain of negative infinity to positive infinity make sense to everyone for number one?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's look at the range. Down forever is negative infinity. Up forever is positive infinity. So when we're looking this and when the bottom, oh, found the bottom. The bottom is right here. So the bottom of this function starts at 0. Does it include that point?
Yes.
Yes, it does. So we're going to include it with our bracket, and it goes up forever
Infinity.
to positive infinity.
Which would be parentheses.
Yes, it would. Okay. Now number 2 is going to use that union thing. So let's look at number 2 now. We're going to start over, and I'm going to draw this extra x-axis down here so I can think about my domain. Forever left, forever right. Okay. Now, do you see that this function is forever left until this point right here? Well, what is that x value right there?
-1.
Negative 1. So this one has a domain that starts at negative infinity and goes to negative 1. Does it include the negative 1? Yes, it does. But then we have a jump in our graph. It jumps all the way over here to positive 1, doesn't it? And so we're going to union that with the interval from 1 to, and it goes forever right. What is that? Infinity.
What's that? Do we write a V or U?
That's a U. That's a terrible U, but that's much better.
I didn't know if it was bad V or a bad U. You know
It was something bad. I'm with you. Okay, I forgot the tick marks on the vertical axis, so let's just go ahead and add some in at positive and negative 1. Okay, and then we can attempt the range. The range is bottom is negative infinity to the top is positive infinity. Do you see this points down forever?
Yes.
So the least value in the range would be negative infinity. And then when we continue along this interval here, and it stops right here. What is the y value right here where it stops? Negative 1. And it includes that negative 1.
Union.
And then we jump, because there's more. So we union that with, what is the y value here where it picks back up? 1, 2, it goes up forever, infinity. Now, my example happened to have the same x and y values. Everyone will not have the same x and y values. My example just happened to. Okay, Is number 2 a function?
Yep.
Yes. Yes. It passes the vertical line test. Is number 3 a function?
Yes.
Yes.
Is number 4 a function?
Yes.
Yes, it passes the vertical line test.
Guys, it's not a horizontal line test, it's vertical.
That's right. Does anybody know what kind of function number 1 is?
Non-linear.
Good job.
Absolute value. The absolute value function looks like a V. Now, you don't have to know that for this year, but that's what it looks like. Okay, I talked about this one the other day. Does anybody remember this one?
I do remember
Yeah,
you
that's-
saying
that's-
I
that.
call it the eyebrow square root function. Okay, and this is half a circle, isn't it? It's a semicircle, and we could write the equation for this as y equals, it's just the top of a circle, so it's the positive square root of 1 minus x squared. Okay, before anybody asks, you do not have to know this, or that. That was just extra. All right.
We don't
You
have to know
what
any
you
of
just
that?
did?
No, I said you don't have to know this,
Oh, okay.
this, or this. Everything else we just did is important.
So just number 2.
I thought I wrote down stuff for no reason.
So just number 2?
I was worried.
So,
Okay, everything else about number 1 and number 2 are all important. You just don't have to know how to come up with the equation just yet.
I don't understand what you're
Would
doing.
those be a bonus question?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I don't think it should. I think you should make it easier about questions.
Okay. All right.
Don't do that to anybody ever. He squeezes his face.
Domain. Domain of the square root function. Do you see it starts here at 0 and it goes forever right? So it's from 0 to infinity. Does that make sense?
Do we need to know number 3 and number 4?
Oh, yeah. You need to know domain and range on all of them.
Okay.
Okay, range. Range, bottom to top. So here goes, it kind of looks like it settles out, but it really keeps going up and out forever. So we'll say from 0 to infinity.
Oh my God.
It was the same in that one. Now, number 4 is very interesting. I like it.
It looks very interesting.
The domain. See, it goes from -1 to +1. And it's everything in between, isn't it? So we would just write from -1 to +1. Now for the range, we do need to add a tick mark right here. We can't actually do it. So the range, bottom to top, bottom to top. What is the lowest y value? 0. To the highest y value? 1.
That one's easy.
You liked it?
I like all of them.
I like all of them that are easy.
Well,
Okay.
all the ranges and domains are easy to do.
Alright, we're going to do this one together. This looks like it's a p of a parabola. It looks somewhat like part of a parabola. It may not be, but it looks somewhat like that. Does it pass the vertical line test?
Well,
Yes.
it looks like it's coming back out. No, I mean, if it were.
We may do a seating chart, just for fun.
Because Ryan really irritated.
You did already assign us these
I think you
seats.
should just switch
No,
them
y'all
up.
chose these seats.
And then you assigned it.
Yeah. No, we
And
chose these.
y'all chose them. And I may choose some new ones.
It's because Ryan, he just flicked my pencil off of my desk, so I flicked his off.
You hit me with a pencil.
Because it all started with Ryan. Because he threw Matt's pencil off, so I hit the head.
Because
Don't do
Matt
that
hit me
again.
with a pencil.
I didn't know that.
I am really worried about Kyle because Matt picks on him and Ryan picks on him.
I know.
Oh,
I don't pick on him.
Evan's nice
poor
to me.
I'm
Kyle.
a great man, Kyle.
Yep, you call me tomato.
Oh. Kyle, unfortunately, there seems to be a common thread in all of this, and it is you.
I'm not always the litigator.
Friend?
I mean,
All right.
instigator.
Instigator?
Because, like, really,
You
this
are
time it
always
was me.
Okay,
I mean,
here
I'm
we go.
involved, but I didn't start it.
Starred problems. Let's go. What do you guys think on domain?
I think it's a function.
It is a function. I said yes.
You right, started right
This is
now.
a one.
-2 to 1.
2.
Oh, I think it's -3.
Yeah, I agree.
-3 to 1. Okay, range, bottom to top. What's the bottom?
Minus
-4.
-4 to, what's the top?
3.
Beautiful.
These are easy.
Yes, they are. Okay, I'm skipping to this one because I like this one.
Which one?
Give it to?
This one.
That one looks tough, but it's not that much tough.
Okay, this one is interesting.
That was fun.
First of all, is it a function?
No.
No, it's not. Fails the vertical line test right here. Do you see it fails?
Oh, I see. Fails twice.
Fails.
What about the
Actually,
one
it passes here because this is an open circle. There's actually not a point there, so it fails just right here, right there.
Why are there?
Okay, so does that mean the one to the left of it would pass?
Yeah, right here passes
No, the
because
one to
this
the
is
left.
a.
No, 'cause they're both black.
Oh yeah, this one's
That one
function.
has 12? Okay. I
Yes.
got it.
Okay.
I got it.
All right. You're gonna have to do that one in just a second. That one's interesting too.
This is fantastic.
All right. So here we go. Domain. I'm gonna start writing it up here. That's right.
What is the thing in the middle?
That star.
No, the middle, the little line with the open circle and the.
Right here.
Yeah.
It's just a segment.
Just a second.
Yeah. All right. So the domain of this. Do you see it goes left forever? So that's -infinity to, what is the x value here? -2. And then it, and then it's -2 to 0. But it doesn't include 0. But then it's down here, it's from 0 to forever. Now if we look at that list, is there any x value on the entire number line that is left out of this graph?
There is not.
There is not. So wouldn't it have been a lot simpler to go, well, the domain's everything?
But it doesn't include.
Biscuits, one down there.
Now we could not do that if one of these was an open circle. Now if this was an open circle right here, I'm trying to color in the middle, I'm failing miserably.
It's okay.
But if this were an open circle here, we couldn't write it like this. We would have to go, woo, open circle. So doesn't include. But it's not an open circle, it's a closed circle. So it does include. And since it includes every x value, even though it's jumping around a little bit, it's -infinity to +infinity.
Would it be wrong if it goes the
Sweet.
wrong way though?
Biscuits.
Eventually, yes, it would be wrong.
If we did just infinity to infinity.
No, this is right.
Oh, that's right.
This is the most correct.
So the other.
This is not totally incorrect,
Okay.
but eventually your math teachers aren't going to give you credit for making things more complicated than they should be.
Yeah.
But when you read the domain of
All right.
when you
Now-
read the domain of that one, it doesn't. It shows that it would be a function. But
No, it doesn't. Domain and range tell you nothing about function or not a function.
So what's the
All right, range. Range. Bottom to top. Does everybody see that every y value on this ray is -3?
Yes.
Every single one. There's only one y value on that entire ray, and it is -3. It is a discrete little y value, isn't it? It's one y value. It's not an interval. It doesn't keep going up or down. It goes straight across. So it is just -3. Union with, let's call this -1. It's kind of in between, but we'll call it -1. -1 to infinity. And some of you are thinking right now, but Miss Willoughby, you left out
I know what we're gonna
this.
No, that's not
It's
included.
feeling left out.
I know what we're gonna do on this one.
And I'll have to say it is not left out. Because what is the y value on this line?
1.
1. 1 included in that interval?
Yes, it is.
Why, yes, it is.
'Cause it's
So,
to
yes.
infinity, all numbers must be
Yes. Okay? All right. Now, I would like you to take a few moments and do the 4 on the front that we didn't do. Nobody should have it on the back right now, unless you all 4 on the front. All 4 that we're missing on the front.
There's 12.
We did 2 of the 6.
We do all the ones in the front.
Yes.
We're wrapping.
Oh.
We've already Oh, you're talking about the sideways facing parabola. That is not a function, but we can still give the domain a range.
Does it keep going like up and out, or is it? Is that
When I hand sketch them, sometimes it's a little hard to tell what the arrows are doing. On this one right here, let's just pretend this. Ooh, that's not white. Try again. I didn't do a good job with that arrow. So it should be going out and down and up and out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for clarifying. There's no tick marks on the board.
You want some tick marks? All right.
No, I mean, what would that point be? Would that be a 1 or like a 2? The one with the.
Right here, we'll call it 1.
Okay. Thank you.
We really don't need to know because.
Yeah, you do. Or you can't do the range.
Oh yeah.
Can't do the range if you don't know that this is -1 and this is +1.
Well, you should.
For bottom left, are we just assuming that that's 1, -1 for the range? Like
Yeah, yeah,
-1, 1.
yes, we.
Oh, we did? I was
It's okay.
I was busy
You were.
working.
I know. Thank you.
Hard working.
On number 4, or the ones on the bottom left, does it matter which one which one comes first in our?
Always goes least to greatest. So even if it is a set
Alright,
of
so
numbers,
like
we
the
want to go
first
least to
left,
greatest.
left to right. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that arrow was. Oh yeah, I remember that.
I'm good at this.
Good.
You got it. You got it.
Okay, I got the first one right. I'll do that.
Look at that.
I'm on a roll.
See that?
I have no idea who this is.
It's
It's
fantastic.
someone in my English class, and I'm gonna find out who it is.
Oh, you like took it?
I didn't steal it. It was just going around the room and no one really knew.
I'm actually getting this because last year.
It's either one of like 4 people.
All right, let's take a look. Did y'all get negative infinity to positive infinity for the domain of the absolute value one? And then the range is from -2 to infinity. Okay? For our parabola that's opening up right here, did you get the domain is negative infinity to positive infinity and the range is the domain is 0 to infinity and the range is negative infinity to positive infinity. This is not a function though, it fails the vertical line test.
God dang it.
Okay, any questions about these two?
Wait.
The bottom is the more interesting.
Yeah, the top ones were pretty simple.
Okay, fair enough.
I can give you the answer. In the
All right,
last one.
now this one, the domain. Right now, the domain includes everything, doesn't it?
Yep.
What if, I'm going to say what if, this were an open circle?
Then you have to put
What would I have to write?
negative
Infinity to 0 with the parentheses.
Uh-huh.
You have to.
And
then a
U
U,
and
and-
parentheses,
yeah,
0
zero.
to positive infinity.
Good. Okay, so if this happened to be an open circle, that would be the domain. It's not, but I can give you one.
Are you going to do any of those in the test?
Oh,
Well, if you do-
possibly.
Okay.
Our test is so far away though.
The quiz is Tuesday, though.
Yeah, there's a quiz Tuesday.
Yes, over this.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
Okay, the range values are -1 and +1. It is not an interval. It is just the y value -1 and the y value +1. So we would write it as a set with the braces.
How come the bottom one you wouldn't use like the close, like the parentheses?
On this one?
Yeah, for the bottom.
Because it's not the interval in between. It is only -1 and +1.
Okay, I can handle that.
Okay, and then this one, the domain would be from -infinity to -2, including, I messed up there, union with from 2 to infinity. And the range would be from -infinity to +infinity, wouldn't it?
Yep.
This y value is not included here, but it is included there. And yes, this is a function. It's a function that has a jump in it. Okay, backside's homework. And you possibly could finish before class is over. So let's work diligently. If you have already finished, I need you to quietly work on something else.
Are we allowed to listen to music?